Welcome to this week's episode of the Nerd Chatter Podcast, where two nerds sit down and chit-chat about nerd news that we find throughout the week. Here with my buddy Lucas. What's up?
Yeah, how's it going, man?
I'm a little sick still.
I was gonna say you still under the weathers.
I mean, we did a recording last week. It was just so bad. I sounded so jacked up that I just scrapped the show. And it was a slow news week, but it was pretty bad. I still sound all terrible, I'm sure, but...
You gotta get sponsored by Emergency.
Yeah, and what's that other one? Damn, it's been so long. I haven't
Airborne?
had to take, no, Airborne doesn't work, bro. That's like, it's like something that you take before you get sick to make it feel like you're not going to get sick. And then when you get sick, you're just like, well, maybe next time it'll help.
Or you just double down on it. That's what you do.
Oh, Zyrtec. I think that's what it is for like allergies. I don't know.
Allergies.
It's like something to do. It feels like a sinus cold, but sometimes it feels like massive allergy attack. I don't know what the hell's going on. Whatever. It is what it is. I'm going to sound a little jacked up probably this week and maybe next week. Just kind of roll with it, but it is what it is. As always, like to focus on free, heavily discounted games that we run across throughout the week. This week's pretty dry, but you still got the Epic Game Store. This is Saints Row 4 Re-Elected. That's free on the Epic Game Store until December 15th. Have you ever played any of the Saints Rows?
I think I played like the first one, and then that was pretty much it.
God, it's like a novelty GTA. It's like they made GTA game, but they made it like poorly and like way over the top, which is kind of crazy to say because it's it's GTA. But
It was re-elected.
yeah, I mean we're talking like anime level
president.
characters, and then on top of it like aliens invading and just it's crazy shit. But it's free.
Independence Day?
Basically, they have like references to all that shit, and the president. You become literally like the president of the United States, and you're fighting aliens and bad guys, and slinging drugs and all this shit. Like it's an insane game. But
Alien drugs.
if you've never played a Saints Row game, it's free. It's the fourth one Re-Elected, I think, is the remastered version, if I'm not mistaken. The other one on there is Wildcat Gun Machine. It looked like whatever. I didn't even look into exactly what type of game it is, but it's free. Free on the Epic Game Store as well until December 15th. And on there, they're starting to tout the holiday mystery games, which I think every day they'll drop like a free game. And the closer you get to Christmas, the bigger the games get. So keep an eye out for like the 30, 40, 50, and even like $60 games that pop through there for like a 24-hour window. I recommend checking every day starting here in a few days. So definitely check that one out. And like I said, last week was a pretty slow news week. We talked about a few things, but it was a lot of just like, did you see this trailer? Did you see this trailer? And we still managed to ramble on for a good bit. But, this week we try to keep it a little streamlined, but we did have... what did we have? We had the Game Awards show, right?
Game Awards were yesterday.
Yeah. We're recording this on Friday. Take an opportunity in your schedule. So I don't have to speak alone this week. But, this last week we had the Game Awards show whenever you're listening to it. A plethora of trailers and
Tons.
world premieres. And it's
Over
the
25
usual.
trailers of just games.
Jeff Keighley is definitely excited when it comes to announcing the shows and then the premieres and things like that pop up from this. There's quite a bit. I know you wrote up a little blurb, and since I'm not doing so well in the voice department, probably going to have you run through quite a bit of that.
Did you watch any of it like live?
I watched 3 streams of it because I'm a heathen and I want a free stream deck or Steam Deck. But I had the wife's iPad up with it running on her Steam, and then I had my Steam up with it running up there, and then I was watching Lyric because I always watch Lyric when he does his live show streams and like to hear all the funny shit, which
Yeah, I gotta watch that for the commentary.
I mean, his
I
reactions.
just imagine what that was like.
I mean, he likes a lot of what won anyways. His favorite games are like God of War and Elden Ring and Souls games. So
Yeah, and there you go.
I've never seen somebody sit there for 2 or 3 hours. I'm sure a lot of people have, but he hates life, but he'll sit there for 3 or 4 hours to beat a single boss. You know what I mean? Just relentless. He hates himself for it, but it's always funny watching. So when it comes to like the award show, it's like I trust his opinion when it comes to, whether or not Elden Ring deserves this or if, God of War deserves this. So if one of your favorite streamers is doing one of those live, like, watch along parties, I definitely recommend it. It's always a good time if you've ever if you haven't had the opportunity to check it out with one of your favorite streamers. Definitely recommend that. So I'm gonna kind of let you go. I know you got something written. I'm gonna mute my mic here so I can hack up some stuff. But you know, you do your thing.
So they came about. Everybody knows Game of Year goes to Elden Ring, which I've never personally played, so it wasn't my kind of cup of tea. But I did watch a couple of streamers did play this game throughout the year.
How much did you see like people play it?
Bits and pieces. I'm not gonna go like in depth. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
if you were watching it at the time, like that, I mean, I know a lot of people play it. I can't play it because I'm
It's
I'm
a
too
long
old.
game.
It's long, but at the same time, like I have like old man brain now. My reaction time is too slow to be able to play a Souls game and like retain my sanity. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's interesting to watch people, but the art direction for that game is like phenomenal. Like it's so ridiculously creative. You're just like, dude, music and stuff like that. So yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely agree with it winning game of the year. I mean, it was up against some other decent titles, but it's Elden Ring, you know?
It was kind of weird though because I was like, that's a game that came out last year, right?
Was it?
So, I'm pretty sure it was. I think it was like a 2021. I want to say,
I don't know.
but
I
kind
mean,
of
I
weird.
know
But
it
it
was
held
there
strong
for
though.
a lot of different categories.
So picking up majority of the wins for the most of the categories for the night was God of War, which I personally thought would have been the Game of the Year award based on just my personal preference of gameplay and how it goes. Um,
Bias.
the no, I mean, come on, well, yeah,
Fucking
probably.
bias. Shut up.
Just basically, I like the gameplay, and you know, compared to me just watching Elden Ring, just yeah, I guess you could consider me biased for sure. The speech for that though was pretty intense. I mean,
I want
he
to
was
talk about
really in
that
depth
little
with
shithead. Everybody knows about that kid.
No, not the kid. I'm talking
Oh.
about Kratos.
Yeah, it was like the lead role. Motherfucker decided to talk for 25 minutes.
It was
I
so
literally
slow,
went and made
though.
coffee for the next morning and shit. I was like getting all my shit ready. And just like when I came back, I was like, this dude's really still talking. It was like, this
Yeah,
dude's
it was
drunk
very
or
very
something.
slow, and he was just dragging out everything. Everybody was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
"What is going on with
Jeff
this?"
Keighley probably in the back just sweating bullets. I can't
Dude,
believe we started this way.
it
I
wasn't the
can't believe
Oscars
it.
where you could just cut him off, you know.
Yeah.
But that was was good to see, and the biggest thing was seeing all the trailers that came out. It was like literally over like 25 trailers for the awards night. We see trailers for Death Stranding 2, which was it was a decent game. You know, it was like one of those games where you just walk around a lot and solve puzzles.
Did you play it extensively?
I played half of it and I kind of just gave up. It was
Yeah.
just getting kind of boring.
I'm in that process because it's included in Game Pass. So I fire it up like every week or so and play like a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And then I'm just like, it's so tedious.
Exactly.
like,
That's
I
the thing. It's like,
understand.
dude, I don't. Can I
It's
kill somebody
Kojima,
now?
so all hail Kojima. So
Oh, yeah.
like, I'm
Bow
not hating
down.
on, but at the same time, it's like you're building fucking roads and walking up hills. You know, like
It's like even the trees walked in that game.
I mean, it's interesting. Like there's aspects of it that are super creepy and weird. He's got a way of like storytelling where it's like if he started pumping out like small little low budget movies, like he'd probably win an Academy Award. You know, like it would be one of those. Like he's very artsy with like the storytelling that he does, and he's probably dropping massive amounts of acid to come up with whatever the fuck he's coming up with. Because like it's so
You know he's in a desert
random.
somewhere.
Like we're like, and that's the thing with like Elden Ring, where it's like I remember that when I was watching people play Elden Ring, it's like, dude, how much drugs do you have to consume to come up with some of this shit? Like insane, like character design, where you know somebody who considers himself a creative and like an artist to even fathom some of the things that these people conceptualize is insane. So it's like that's why I kind of stood back when it came to like Elden Ring winning shit. And it's like, yeah, because it's pretty crazy from a creative aspect. Like that's the
game
Academy
deserved it.
Award winner, you know, like
Yeah.
of course it's gonna upset.
Death Stranding for me is just, it's kind of boring. You're just walking around and you're doing stuff. It felt like a sim. Like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. Now I did it. Now I gotta
Yeah.
walk over here now.
I feel like if you got to a certain point in the game, because I know that after you stop worrying about the what are they called, BTs? Like once you stop worrying about them because you're moving faster or you're utilizing different types of transportation, like the game becomes a lot easier. But you know, I've been Kojima has an assistant who likes to like tweet out and like you know post a bunch of shit on social media. So I saw that he was in God, where was he? It was Palm Desert. Oh, he was at La Quinta. Motherfucker probably playing the chords out there and shit. but
DJ
like,
West.
yeah, I mean, if you golf, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? Like, it's perfect time of year to golf La Quinta right now.
Oh hell yeah.
It's that month and a half window where it's tolerable to actually be alive out there. But like I saw him, he's a picture. I was like, damn, that like in and out looks kind of familiar, dude. And then I saw people in comments where it's like, yeah, that's like Palm Springs. It's like, oh, that's La Quinta. I was like, that was in La Quinta. I was like, oh, like Kojima's in U.S. Like he's in Cali, he's in Cali territory. So he's definitely going to be at the show then. What else is he doing? But he's been sharing pictures of his food and like all his little attractions he's been going to and the art and shit that he's checking out. So I knew he'd be around. I don't think anybody expected him to drop Death Stranding 2 though. Like that's kind of big.
I wasn't expecting it, and I was just like, this game is probably a one and done type of game. I don't think you could make a series out of it. But then again, I never finished the ending, so that's why I never even put a thought to it. After that, they showed Street Fighter 6. It looked pretty dope. I'm excited for that one. Then you got
they had some like custom character shit or something in it, didn't
yeah,
it?
you can start doing some stuff with
The
it.
animations look pretty sick for that. And then here comes Ryu, and he looks all fucking weird and like gaudy compared to like the actual character.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, what? It's like, hold on. It's like, so
you gotta bump him up. He's like one of the hardest ones when you play him on CPU.
But like at the same time, it's like the design looked a lot more, like chunky, and because like the custom character AI was like slim, very very typical proportions of a normal human being, and like the animations were really, had a lot of martial arts flair to it, realistic martial arts flair. And then Ryu comes in and he's just like all bulking and brooding and throwing fireballs and all this crazy shit. And it's like, I don't know, it doesn't look right. But I did dig it. I don't know. Again, I'm too old for anything that requires fast like hand-eye coordination. Yeah.
After that, you got Tekken, Diablo 4. That was a new trailer released on that. That looked pretty dope.
Yeah, their trailers always go super hard. Like,
yeah.
The first trailer for Diablo 4 was like one of the hardest things I've ever seen in my life. And I didn't even play Diablo, but I was like, that trailer is so ridiculous. It's like, holy shit. How come they're not making movies like this? And I'm supposed to be impressed by Avatar? What the fuck?
Yeah, well, if somebody likes Avatar, they're going to push for that. Good old James Cameron.
Fucking douche.
If I like it, everyone is going to like it in the world. You see the new game Crime Boss? Did you see that?
No.
So they did this. It looks like just a big ripoff of GTA, and it has like a bunch of celebrities in it.
Oh, with fucking Chuck Norris.
Chuck Norris.
Yeah, that I remember. Yeah. What the fuck was that? What was that?
It's basically GTA, it's honestly a ripoff of GTA. It's made in or centralized in Miami in the 1990s. You're this drug lord running around, from the bottom up. So I was like, okay. But they introduced like all these celebrity characters in it. I'm like, I don't know.
And they're all de-aged. It's like their last hurrah of like trying to look young and cool and shit. Yeah, Chuck Norris looking like he's just off the set of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah,
and shit.
dude,
Like,
exactly. All they did was just take that and make it Walker, Texas Ranger.
Your boy loves the Walker, Texas Ranger. I live for my weekly roundhouse kick. Like, holy shit. They know people are waiting for GTA 6, so they just slapped together some fucking Saints Row bullshit and threw in Chuck Norris because it's Chuck Norris.
Yeah, you have a bunch of like celebrities in here. It's Mr. Blonde was a dude from Reservoir Dogs, Michael Madsen. So he's like the main
Michael
character.
Madsen. There you go. That's it. Yeah, he looked like 106 years old. Literally looked like he was like pushing 110.
And now he looks like he's like 40 in this. You got what's his
fucking
name?
Al Pacino came out of nowhere, bro. Like, did you see Al Pacino come out of nowhere? Like, everybody's like, what? Why is Al Pacino here? Yeah, this was kind of random, to be honest.
Of course. What was that for? I think he delivered one of the awards, right?
Yeah, he was just delivering a reward. It's like, what? Who contacted who? Like,
he
Jeff, why did you choose Al? Because he's in town, or what the fuck? Yeah, I was thrown back. Like, people were just like in the crowd, like, what? They were shocked. They were like, amazed that the great Al Pacino was there. But
well, he was in this game too. Vanilla Ice.
Bro, I'm gonna mute my mic because I'm about to fucking.
You got Danny Trejo, Vanilla Ice are the rival gang bosses. Danny Glover and Damien Poitier. Kim Basinger. I mean, this is like the last. This is literally
Trejo's
like you said,
in there too?
last hurrahs.
Oh my god!
Of all their like what do you call it, their careers.
Yeah. I mean, this is their if they're choosing the 90s, they did it intentionally so that they could all be in their prime. Yeah, I'm sure their prime was the fucking 70s
I
or
think this
whatever.
de-aging tool is just going to go way too far on all
Yeah.
this now from now
And
on.
now we know we have Chuck Norris like digitally scanned in 3D for him to be used, and his voice is probably mapped out like what's his name, Darth Vader and shit.
Oh, where he has the
James Earl Jones.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
The James Earl Jones AI. Now
he
we're gonna have
retired
Chuck
now.
Norris AI.
He's roundhouse kick,
Yeah.
roundhouse kick.
We got the new Hellboy game. I saw a lot of people, the Web of Weird or Wired or whatever. Saw some people talking shit like, why does he look like that? Like, why does Hellboy look like that? I was like, because that's literally how Hellboy looks. Like, that is how Hellboy looks. He doesn't look like what's his face in the film from like the early 2000s. He
He's
looks
all huge.
I mean, he's tall, but like he's really not buff, like super crazy buff like that, you know.
Right.
He is somewhat lanky, and he's really off proportion in terms of like his head compared to like his right hand and his left hand, and he's a lot taller and skinnier than most people expect. They just kind of expect what's his name to be in that suit and all yoked out. But yeah, I don't know about the art style of that one. What did you think?
Yeah. So I saw the Hellboy thing, and I mean, it took looked like a comic book ode. You know, like the art was different, especially if you're trying to focus on the movie, you're not going to get any of that out of the what looks like to be like the next video game.
It kind of looked like they leaned into it a little too hard. Like it was way simplified, you know, like just way too, the detail wasn't there, even though it was trying to be like the comics. It looked really, it kind of looked cheap. But,
They get the right artist.
over the shoulder Hellboy game with the artwork from the comic book. But I don't know. Like it's Hellboy, bro. Who the fuck gives a shit about Hellboy? Honestly, who cares about Hellboy?
No one.
No, literally, they just rebooted it a couple years ago, and nobody watched that shit. Why are they making another game? Probably
Waste
some,
money
like,
to make money, I guess.
some like
People
rights
fear,
thing
so.
where they gotta make it or they lose it or some shit. Just
Yeah,
like
look forward
Spider-Man.
on Xbox for $79.99 next time. Destiny 2 was actually shown too, which is
Oh, the
meh.
new trailer. I forget what
Yeah.
that trailer's for. What was that for? Lightfall. That's right. Yeah, I mean, I just haven't kept up with any Destinies. I'm gonna be honest. Destiny feels like super sexy. Like that game feels
I kind of got
super
lost in
good.
it. Like I was like, "What is going on?" Like I
You
got to go
do.
through portals, and then I start walking around, and then all of a sudden, some dudes start talking to me, and I
It's
just
like a fake open world feel, and it feels suffocating. And then
gave
I
up
played
on it.
Warframe. I was like, oh, this is way worse. It's like
I just yeah.
it's like it gives you the illusion of this vast open, landscape, when in reality it feels like, you're playing a fucking Lego Star Wars game and shit. But like,
That was a quick delete off the hard drive.
I mean, I'm not gonna say I mean, when it comes to the gunplay, dude, like I don't know, like it actually feels really good. The enemies are spongy. We're talking about fucking Destiny 2. The thing is like a decade old, but like, like the enemies are spongy, but like the revolver, dude, like that's some of the best like revolver feel that I've ever run into in a game, But like it takes so much DLC and so much effort. People grinding legendary weapons just to get like one skill point or one attack point at a time, like the typical shit. Once you get up to the top, it's hard to climb any further, but people still do it. But I mean, it looked all right, Like by this point, I have no idea if there's even a story going on anymore of those games, but I can attest. I mean, if you haven't played Destiny 2 out there, I mean that's some of the best. It's Bungie, so obviously it's going to be the way, but it's some of the best FPS shooting that you can get, just in general,
Another trailer that was revealed was the new Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. That was pretty sick.
Mhm.
I did like that one. This game is actually going to be the last role for Kevin Conroy.
I think that's why they made this trailer. The I Am Vengeance line, I mean, that was not recorded for the game. That was a line I think that's actually not stolen, but ripped from the CW show. I forget what it was called, but he was on a CW show where he played like Batman in the future, where he's old, kind of like from Batman Beyond, which they need to put like Michael Keaton, right, as the old Batman, which they were kicking around at DC, which I'm not sure if we're going to get into. There's a bunch
I think
of
they
DC shit, but
they tanked that one though.
they did. I think he did make an appearance on the Batgirl movie that was scrapped, but I don't know. I don't know what it's a completely different shit show going on over there now, so you can't really compare. But he did make an appearance as old Batman, which I think would be awesome. We were at that age, right, where it's like our older, I guess, later elementary school years, middle school maybe
Middle
was
school.
when Batman Beyond was dropping. That shit was dope.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I
the one
mean,
Michael Keaton was supposed to be doing. Is a Batman Beyond
yeah.
movie, but that one just got scrapped. So.
And then Kevin Conroy played that character in the CW show where he was like from a different universe or different Earth or whatever, and he did the Vengeance line, and
Different timeline, wasn't it?
yeah, it's like I am Vengeance, I am the Night, or I am the Night, I am Batman.
Yeah.
They pulled that from either that show or one of his readings because he's done it a bunch of times live, and they put that in there. I think just be out of sheer respect, you know what I mean? And I literally sat up in my seat when I saw Batman. I was like, oh, is it actually going to be? And like it cut out and it went to like the smoke and all that, and then you could hear I am Vengeance, and I was like, fucking chills, bro. But like, I was like, oh, so this is going to be like his last role. And I'd said, I'm not sure if I said it to you, if I just said it on the show in general, but was like, I don't know if I'll ever be able to play like an Arkham Knight game if it's not Kevin Conroy doing that voice,
And there you go.
And it's like, this is
He gave you one last hurrah.
like, I don't know if you've played Guardians. You have Game Pass. I mean, it's on there, but
Yeah.
that's probably one of the best like comic book games that I've played. Story driven, you know what I mean? Like naturally, Arkham series is like the best shit ever created. It's like up there with Spider-Man, in terms of actual game.
Gameplay.
Yeah, so it's like it's not just a good comic book game, it's just one of the best video games, period. I'm not going to say that about Guardians, but it's one of those heavily story driven. It's very funny, well written and shit like that. And I think that's kind of how this game's going to be, right? It's a team driven, comedic, beat for beat type of follow along the story and kind of have fun type shit. And I don't know if you know the premise of it, but it's kind of like the Injustice type of situation or like the Nightmare scenario and the Snyder shit, but the heroes have been corrupted. And it looks like from an outside means, either poisoned or just flat out corrupted with magic or whatever. But
Yeah.
the good guys are the bad guys, and they're out there murdering people. And the bad guys now have to step up to stop them, which is a very The Boys type of mindset where it's like, how the fuck are these guys going to beat Superman? Like, how are you going to stop Superman? Like, what are you going to do? He's going to blow your brains out with his eyeballs. Like, he's
Good luck, dog.
yeah, I was like, that's literally the nightmare scenario for a number of comic series, Red Sun Superman, which is like one of my favorite little side stories of Superman, where I think it's like the ship got tugged on a certain planet or it ricocheted off a meteor or something in space and diverted its landing path. And instead of landing in Kansas City or in Kansas, Metropolis, goddamn Metropolis, Smallville, it veers off and lands in the Soviet Union. And the Russians, the Russians get Superman, and he becomes the Russian Superman. There's a few animations where there's a couple of those where you got to watch them, where they're the alternate ideas of what happens if they go bad, or what happens if Superman landed in Russia, that type of thing. One of them, is like, what happens if instead of Bruce Wayne's parents dying, that it was Bruce that died, and the mom becomes the Joker and the dad becomes Batman, but he's brutal and vengeful, and violent, There's a bunch of side plots out there, and this kind of seems in line with that. And Injustice kind of speared off its own little side plot as well with Superman being bad and all that shit, you know what I mean? So I'm down for it. If you haven't played Guardians of the Galaxy for that story driven, third person experience, I recommend it because it'll warm you up for this for sure.
Yeah,
it looks better than Gotham Knights. I'll put it that way.
After that, they had shown the everybody's pretty much already been waiting for this one, the Star Wars Jedi Survivor, but finally we actually get to see the trailer for it.
Oof.
Which, yeah, exactly.
Oof.
That looked really good. I watched that 4 times.
Yeah.
Just after that drop. So.
He's going to be making his appearance somewhere, and I don't know what maybe Ahsoka. I mean, he might be in Ahsoka, the show. he's been asked, like, is Cal coming to live action? And he's like, yeah, they've talked about it. I'm like,
We don't know.
I think that they're probably going to bring him into one of the shows. My issue is, it's a personal pet peeve because I just got back from Disney World a few weeks ago, but I held that fucking lightsaber, and this shit is way bigger than it looked like in his hand. Like, his lightsaber in person, it's huge, bro. Like, it is ridiculously huge. And like what he whipped out on stage, I was like, that looks like a legacy lightsaber, but it also looks like it's small. I was like, that shit does not look as comedic as it was in person.
Someone fucked up on that prop right there.
I mean, that thing I think it won best toy of the year, like last year, because of just how like epic the design is. But I don't know, motherfucker whipped out there with some like screen version of it or something, because the thing in real life looks like a fucking antenna and shit. It's huge.
That props director got fired right after that.
I mean, he needed a brighter blade for sure. Like, I'm sure Garrett was probably just seething. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's not bright enough. Oh my god!
Just neck veins popping out.
Like, he's got some. He was showing off and fucking bragging about his NeoPixel blade. Like, I'm gonna tell you something. With some of those lightsabers, it's like, it's got tip drag now, bro. You know what tip drag is? Bruh, like, that means that if I drag the blade on the ground, the end of the blade turns bright white and flickers like it's dragging through the surface. Oof. And I got this fucking 20-year-old master replica over here in this goddamn Disney World version.
Now you got an upgrade for it.
Did
you see the dual lightsaber in it, though?
What, his?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could buy two of the same ones. It's same thing with the Darth Vader or the Darth Maul, but if you buy two of the Cal Kestis, you can put them together. And if you buy one, it comes with two different tips. The torn tip, which looks sick, I'm not gonna lie, like it looks like it's been ripped in half. And then you could switch that out for just the bottom of the hilt where it's rounded and it looks complete. But if you buy another Cal, you can remove both ends and then slot them in together and turn into a double-bladed lightsaber and shit.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, if you're willing to drop $600 or whatever it is, so be it. Just don't mention that shit to Garrett, because he'll be like, "Whoa, whoa!" He's all about like, if you're gonna surpass like $100 on a lightsaber, you better be building it or buying like a custom saber. You know what I mean? Which with tip drag, I kind of recommend. That shit goes hard. All right,
so that's got a March release date planned. I think it's like March 17th or something like that. So be looking forward to that and downloading that one. Next one was Horizon Forbidden West, Burning Shores. This is basically a release of a trailer of a DLC that's going to be set in LA. So I played a little bit of Horizon Forbidden, or just Horizon, but it's kind of, I don't know. I don't like a lot of walking around games. I'm a little bored.
I gave off like Tomb Raider vibes. I think Lyrics said the same thing. He's like, it's good. But I was kind of done with the whole series after I beat the first one. Like, I really didn't want to play anymore. That kind of seems like how it is, you know what I mean? Like, I have access to it too, and I've just never been interested.
Yeah, I played the first one, and my buddy was like, he got me the PlayStation 5, and he's like, I'll get you for Horizon. You got to play the first one before you play the second one. And I played the first one. I was like, okay, I'm pretty much done with this game after I finished it. And I was like, it didn't even start the free game that I got with the PS5. And I was like, I'm just gonna move on.
I mean, it's pretty. Like, yeah, you can't say it's not.
Oh
pretty.
yeah, I
like,
mean, it's
obviously.
pretty, but the gameplay for me is just not my style.
It's the Avatar syndrome. Damn, we're ripping on Avatar hard and shit.
I mean, why not?
Shit.
Last week's bleeding into this week still.
Yeah. we scrapped last week's episode, so we got to talk more shit about James Cameron. Because you guys missed that show, we talked like 20 minutes on how much of a jackass fucking James Cameron is, because he won't shut up.
And he just needs to stop making.
He was saying some more shit. Let me see here. I was looking at this a second ago.
Well, he said that shit of like, everybody's gonna love whatever I love, so that's why I ripped on that one out earlier. And
he has plans
like, come on, guys.
Avatar 6 and 7. He was talking some other shit about. I don't want to hear anybody complaining about length because I watch my kids watch 6 1-hour episodes back to back to back and blah blah.
What is
It's
it
like, bro,
different?
you're laying on your couch eating fucking like Snickers and
I'm not in
and
a
on your
fucking
phone
movie theater.
and you know getting up to take a shit whenever you want. You don't
Exactly.
care, and if you come back and you miss something, you can rewind it.
Yeah.
And then he was like, "Oh, that's fine. They could just watch it again." I was like, "Man, I'm about to sock this fool. I swear to
I'm
God."
not gonna
like,
sit back and watch a fucking
it's like-
3-hour movie of blue people jumping from tree to tree. All
I
right.
just hate his mentality. I like just hate his like. What has he become? I'm sure he's been like this forever. Like he's just
Fucking
always been
Jimmy
a dick.
Cameron.
But it's just like, please stop. Please stop it.
I thought it was like a much overdone when VHS was 2 tapes for Titanic. I was
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, insert tape 2? What are you talking about?
Yep. I remember that. I mean, the thing was 4 hours or whatever, and
Come on.
VHSs aren't like that. They probably had to edit it down to keep it just at 2 instead of having
And
like
you
5
can't
minutes on another
can't
one.
make a movie more than 2.5 hours long with people's ADHD nowadays.
I mean,
there's just no way, dude.
It's really about you. I'm not talking shit about James Cameron, him being a storyteller and all that. Maybe the stories that he's choosing to tell, the shit that he's talking about him. But like, really, your typical movie is like supposed to be like 90 minutes, right? Like an hour.
Maybe an hour and a half.
You start getting up closer to 2 hours, then you start letting your audience know. You break the 2-hour mark, then you're just like, okay, the movie's starting to run long, so be prepared. And then once you pass 2.5 hours, then you're in like, you know, Lord of the Rings territory. And it's like, you better make it worth it because you really should be able to tell a story in like under 2 hours, especially if you plan on making 9 of these things. Like, what's wrong with you, bro?
Well, maybe that's his thing. It's like if people wanted to watch Lord of the Rings for 2.5 hours, people walking around, I'm pretty sure people could watch my movie of people gliding through trees and flying around.
The thing is, I try to rewatch Lord of the Rings, and I know this is blasphemy to some people, but that's just boring, bro.
Yo, did you watch the director's cut?
I did.
Dude, what the
did.
fuck?
Yeah, I did.
Did I really need to sit through 4 hours of extra shit, of extra walking around?
I mean, I saw the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League too, and that shit was 4 hours as well. Everything over 4 hours is dog shit. It doesn't need to be that
dude,
long.
what the fuck?
It's like they start repeating shit. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't need to hear this person explaining the same thing to me. My thing with Lord of the Rings is that it's kind of a grog, you know? Like,
I'm like, dude, throw the ring away already.
it's like, why just
God,
get the
what do I
birds,
need
damn
to
it, get the
do?
birds, like the
Yeah,
birds,
fly.
fly the birds over there.
No, what do? We jump on fucking trees that walk.
and go the opposite direction. They actually went the opposite. But I watched it recently. I've also watched the Hobbit series, which to me is probably more rewatchable.
I heard that
In
was
all
boring.
honesty, I mean, you read the Hobbit, right? That's the book
Yeah.
that everybody read. Most people didn't read the twin, you know, the two towers, the two towers, the Fellowship, you know, what is it, the Return of the King?
Return of the King, yeah.
Like, those really weren't the ones that kids were like forced to read. It was the Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
I remember that, and I remember it being confusing when I watched it. I was like, wait, where's like, you know,
I think that was one of the
Bilbo
books we had to
and-
buy in high school.
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%. Like,
Whatever that
it's
bookstore
like,
across the
where's
street was.
Bilbo and the dragon, and like, where's
Where's
like,
the cool shit?
where's all the riddles and stuff? You know what I mean? Like the cave riddles between him and Smeagol. Like, I was confused, and then I realized that they skipped the Hobbit, and that you're hopping in after the fact. Which, to be honest, the lore that J.R.R. Tolkien expanded on with that whole thing is what's crazy, you know. But in terms of the movie, it's fucking boring, bro. Like, those things are a slog. I'm sorry, blue people swimming around and shit is also going to be a slog if it's like 4 hours. Like, I don't care how long his kids can sit in front of a TV on their phones and shit, pretending to watch a series, you know? Like, it's completely different. And his whole, like, shit talking on just people in general is just like, relax, dude. Just fucking relax. I digress. We're getting on the whole James Cameron spiel.
Yeah, we're
here.
starting shit back on.
Shut the hell up, James
now.
Cameron. Nobody wants to hear your shit.
I just need you to stop, Jimmy.
Yeah,
alright?
just stop.
Stop doing what you're doing. Make another Terminator, for God's sakes.
No, don't make
I
another
won't.
Terminator. Don't do that. Don't tell him that.
That's gonna be 4 hours long.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be everything all combined together with blue people. So that was pretty much the whole gist of the Game Awards. Nothing much else to take out from that.
We can mention the little dickhead.
I don't
All right,
wanna
we're not
mention
going
the
to give him
little
a broadcast,
dickhead.
but some little
I
dickhead flew
really
all the way
didn't want
across from
to.
some faraway foreign fucking land to get up on stage and say some stupid bullshit. To waste such
wasn't
an
funny,
opportunity.
yeah.
To waste
It
such
was-
an opportunity to get on stage at something like that and say something stupid instead of something funny or offensive or crazy. He says something stupid. That means
Yeah.
he's stupid. It's like, right? Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, just stop.
I mean, if you're living under a rock and you haven't seen anything online, this kid basically walked up with the Elden Ring creating group, everything that during their Game of the Year award acceptance, and he kind of held back in the background. And you could tell like people were kind of like, "Who the fuck is this kid?" He's a kid. He's a kid standing around a bunch of men right there, and they're all staring at each other like, "Did you bring him up here?" And someone in the video actually saw that you can see him come out of the aisle and walk up behind
Wall
them,
clapping.
kind of wall clapping. Yeah. So this kid just basically kind of waited for his moment after everything died down, and I guess the production team was like, "Oh shit, someone else has something to say," and they were like, "Let's just give him the mic, give him a hot mic," and
Yeah,
he basically says the stupidest shit you can ever think of.
It didn't even make any sense. And that's the
I-
thing. It's like he was just saying whatever stupid shit came to his stupid brain, and that's what shitted out was like this bullshit about Bill Clinton being a rabbi. What are you talking about? What are you fucking talking about? Like, like
And it left
you
everybody
idiot.
like everybody's staring at each other like, what the fuck just happened?
Like Miyazaki is a fucking genius. Like he is a genius. He's standing there winning the Game of the Year award, right? Voted on for the people, and then some little turd goes up there and like ruins it. For what, bro?
He probably had no idea what he was saying, anyways.
No, he didn't. No, none of them did. And that's why they kind of like all just, because from their perspective, it could have been somebody squeezing in there to say, like bring attention to this or, awareness for this. But instead it was just some like little French idiot who's up there saying some stupid bullshit because he thought it was funny for his
I guess he
TikTok
was trying to pull
followers.
off the Kanye West Taylor Swift thing.
Bro, I mean,
maybe,
that was,
but even that made sense. Though.
I mean, it's a lot edgier now. You can't look back with fond memories of that instance now because he's a fucking Nazi. But like, like at least that one was funny because of the memes that came from it. But people better not be memeing this kid because he's just an idiot.
No, I think it's dead and done with because nobody even understood what the fuck he was trying to say or even try to put across.
Yeah.
Dead like it is in this conversation.
Yeah.
Moving on. FTC sues to block the Activision Microsoft deal. Did you read a lot about that? There's like more coming up about.
Yeah, I don't understand why.
They basically FCC just basically doesn't want Activision Blizzard to be taken over, or Microsoft I should say,
Well-
to be taken over and making the game library only to Microsoft.
See, okay. Now this has been discussed on the show prior. My perspective is I side with Microsoft. I'm gonna be straight up. I'm American. It's an American company.
America.
It's our American console. I understand if you're like a weeb and you're like all about PlayStation and that's the only like
I got
console
both, so.
that exists. If you don't have both, then it's like get out of my face to begin with. But I have both Sony and Microsoft sitting in the bedroom. Like I have a PC sitting in front of me, so I also have another Xbox here in front of me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I side with Xbox because of what they do for gamers. It's like the Game Pass is insane. Like so much hoop jumping that's required to get such titles accessible to people like that for that price is insane. What they do with Xbox Companion, and being able to stream your console from your PC. I could fire up my console and I could hacksaw my way into the screen in the other room and play the Xbox from my PC. Then you have like the Samsung shit now, where any TV released after 2022 that's a Samsung Smart TV now has the Xbox app built in, so you can play Xbox without needing the console. You can play on the cloud.
Yeah, you don't have to lug it downstairs and say like, "Oh, I
Exactly.
want to play on the big TV today."
Buy Samsung, and you can play Xbox in every single room without even a console in your household. You know what I mean? Like, insane. Like, they're bringing games to people. So it's like, I get it. Like, they're Microsoft bad. Microsoft do bad things. But Sony sucks. And Sony can't make a fucking... I mean, this is a completely different department, but they can't make a fucking movie if their life depended on it, bro. Like, they had to hand over Spider-Man to MCU so that they could, like, drop dick and be like, look how just majestic
we fucked this
Spider-Man
up.
can be.
Fix it.
And then they hand it back to them and they make fucking Morbius and Venom. And like, dude, bro, the pixels and shit. Like, what is this? Like, they're trash, bro. Like, they're trash. They have been outed for explicitly paying developers to exclude their games from Game Pass, and in certain cases, Xbox releases. Period. When you see a game come to PlayStation and PC, there's something wrong there, because a PC is still Microsoft product. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're explicitly stopping it from going to the console because they want you to buy their console. That's their focus. If they don't have you buying their consoles, they're dead in the water. Microsoft doesn't give a shit, because every single console is built into the Windows like platform on a PC, right? It's like, that's what they're counting.
Yeah, the first thing you fire up your PC, what do you see like on the startup window is like Xbox.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Xbox is
Logo.
just automatically included in like, I actually don't know, because I've had it on my desktop.
We have
since it came
computers
out,
at
but
work that have Xbox logos on them.
that
I'm like,
is
dude, should I just fire this up?
like, it is literally just an Xbox, and like, that's what, you know, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. When you have Discord now working with Xbox, right, which is
Xbox, yeah.
insane. So it's like, now you have
Yep.
the communications bridge between PC and console. And then you have, like, in my case, which after this I'm going to stream a little bit more, but, you know, I'm playing like Lego Star Wars, right? The Skywalker saga, which is fucking dope. It's a masterpiece, by the way. I can play it in the living room, right? I can shut off the console. I could walk to the office. I could sit down, and I could pick up right where I left off. You know, I'm a broken record on that part, but like, that's so epic, dude. Like, the fact that they're focusing on that is what I appreciate. And Sony over there groveling, like, you know,
Well,
about
Sony's just basically coming down and saying, that, hey, without us, Microsoft wouldn't be doing any of these consoles, because we're the ones that like kind of originated it, and it's like, dude, Sony, chill out.
not true, because it's Nintendo that did that. So it's like, and Nintendo's like even worse, to be honest. But like, Nintendo is a unique situation because they offer their own product, and they can charge what they want for their own product. They can regulate their own product. It's like Apple, you know what I mean? And the iPhone and shit. It's like, yeah,
Yep.
everybody makes smartphones, but Apple makes the iPhone, you know what I mean? And it's the same thing for like Nintendo. It's like, they're the only ones that make Mario games, my guy. Like, you're just gonna have to deal with it. Like, that's just how it is, because
Yeah.
that's a Nintendo product. Microsoft with more power is bad for them, and like, that's all they need to know. They don't care if Microsoft is pushing a 10-year agreement between the
I was
consoles.
gonna say Microsoft is trying to play nice. They're,
They
they're like,
are.
hey, you know what? We'll give you 10-year deals. We're even gonna bring it to Nintendo. Like, we're gonna let Nintendo have a little piece of this while we
Yeah,
figure out what we're
they're all
gonna,
shaking hands and
we're
like,
gonna go
and
with
like,
this.
you know,
Yeah.
jumping rope and
PlayStation's
having a
like,
good
"No."
time and shit. They're just, yeah, they're all sulking in the corner, all pissy.
Yeah,
and shit.
PlayStation's just like, we haven't agreed to it, any of the terms yet, so
Yeah,
we're just gonna sit back and just watch this, wait until this doesn't go through.
And whether or not this is
You're
the
like,
final
just
console
let it
generation, we don't know. You know, like, we may get to a point where, like the Samsung thing, where you just don't need to buy consoles anymore. And when it comes to PlayStations and Xboxes, they lose money for every console they sell. That is a given. And anybody that builds PCs, or at the very least puts their PCs together to be built and understands the components and how much everything costs, the graphics cards alone, the very proprietary graphics cards that are bopping around in these consoles, the solid states and stuff that are going on with the hard drives and stuff, these are not cheap parts. Like, those two things alone are enough to pay for the console. So everything else is at a loss. I know in previous generations, PlayStation was losing like $20 a console or something like that, which in terms of numbers is insane. Like, that's such a huge loss.
Oh, if you add that up in the millions, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and their goal is to make sure that those are people that are going to buy PlayStation games, and that's why they try so hard to make sure that, you know, PlayStation is the only place you can get that experience, because
You can
if not,
tell
they
that
don't
PlayStation
exist.
Is suffering though, because whatever Xbox does, a couple of weeks later or something in an update, it's like, oh, look at PlayStation brought this too,
Yeah,
and you're like,
they're
Xbox already
hurting.
did that.
I mean, it's the thing is, they're not hurting with like sales or image or anything like that. They are in a nice spot. Like, they sit at top. They make the best console games, admittedly. Their hardware isn't as good as the Xbox Series X. However, the functionality and usage of those have been tested more on PS5 than they have been on Xbox because of the exclusives aspects. So like more games have been pushed to the limit on a PlayStation because Xbox isn't focusing on that shit. They're focusing on cramming Xboxes into Samsung's TVs and bringing a subscription service to like everybody that can afford it. You know what I mean? So like there's two different perspectives there. And really, I'm going to say it again, you know, like I said, broken record, Activision came to Microsoft. Like, this is not Microsoft trying to go out and swoop up a
small company.
Activision Blizzard was fucking dying because of all the sexual harassment bullshit. Motherfuckers stealing breast milk out of the company refrigerators and shit. like fucking like
I remember that.
The sexual the Bill Cosby room and like all this crazy shit or whatever the fuck is going on over at Blizzard. They needed to sell. They needed to ditch. And the only people they could approach was Microsoft. And because Microsoft is always in the market to expand their roster, they're like, yeah, fuck it, why not? That's where they're at. Like that's how all this came about. And that is enough to cause Sony to shit themselves like twice, like back to back, like embarrassing the first, super embarrassing the second, you know, but like that is the driving factor of it, is the fact that they know that Microsoft has power. So they understand, you know, all these like Sony boys are touting this and bragging about that, but it's like, you fucking watch your mouth, bro. Like you shut the hell up because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like that one's gonna snap, you know, like it's literally like trying to act tough to like the big guy at the bar, and the big guy at the bar being like, man, get the fuck out of my face, bro. Like, what are you gonna do? And then after like an hour, he's like, you know what? You know, like I'm about to stop your face in. Like that's basically what's going on right now. So I find it amusing. That's my thing with it, is I find it amusing that Sony like fanboys can simultaneously act super hard, but at the same time shit themselves out of fear for the same thing. So it's ridiculous to me. So like, you know, you console scrubs and what you bicker about, you know, is your business.
Other than that, since we've moved on, from talking about that, and we got a new season of COD coming up. That's what we got.
Did it already released, or is this different?
I think it's like an add-on.
I saw something
so
too, yeah.
Because there's so many seasons.
Seasons?
Seasons. And you're just like getting lost in a lot of this stuff. So they came up with a new game mode called Raid.
A different game mode. That's right. It's a raid.
Yeah. So yeah. Adam Grad. This comes out December 14th, and this will be an expansion of the storyline with the trailer that you saw that was revealed during the Game Awards. If you were watching that, looks pretty dope. Yeah, I was watching the trailer and I was just like, okay, this shows like gameplay, but I didn't really get like the whole concept of the actual game mode. I'm like, am I just run around and shoot people? Or are they bots? You know, what do I do? Do I loot for stuff?
Oh, and they had that one guy, right? The guy with the muzzle. All right.
Yeah. So it's all the characters from Modern Warfare 2. Right. And, you know, I don't know. It's just more stuff to download, more stuff to take up on my hard drive. So, of course, I'm going to have to get another SSD or M.2 SSD for this thing since they're still on sale.
Is that Ghost?
That's not Ghost.
It's not?
Ghost has another
face and the...
Oh, Ghost is the one, yeah, with the face.
He's the one with the
mustache with the bucket hat.
No. No. No, that's no. I meant the guy with the
mask,
the skull, right, on the face.
That's Ghost.
Wow, why does he look so stupid? I mean, back in the day, he just had like a balaclava, and it was like spray painted.
Supposedly, they made him more in detailed.
I'm gonna tell you right now, bro, that was a bad idea. I was like, for Halloween, I want to be Ghost, and I got like a balaclava, and like I tried to spray paint a skull template on it. I was just huffing paint and shit.
I was gonna say, you're just getting high off the paint.
I was like, damn, every time I wear this balaclava, I get all woozy and shit.
I get a headache and shit.
I was like, damn, it was a bad idea, but like it looked a lot cooler back then. Like now
Just
he
pull it
wears
over your
like
head and
a.
just be like, yeah, this is like post war fight.
I just love all the memes and shit that are coming out of it because he just looks emotionless.
Oh, he
And
does
he's
that one
just-
look, right? Where he's like looking over to his side and he's like, what
Yeah,
the fuck
it's
is this?
perfect. It's
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
actually pretty funny in the game.
That's
in
gonna
the in the story, the campaign, his lines are pretty funny. Did you see the new Dead Island 2 trailer?
I did the gameplay. It reminds me of a mix between Dying Light and Dead Rising. If anybody has played either of those two games,
Dead Rising, yeah.
Dead Rising was the stupid one where you could like fucking like attack zombies with a chainsaw on the end of a golf club and shit. And
Yeah.
I mean, my
Knife that shoots
brain
lasers.
instantly went to like, can it be used for RP? Because like every time I see an open world like that and it comes to PC, it's like, okay, but can it be stripped down to its bare form and then used for like an RP scenario? Probably not. Not to mention, I mean, GTA 5 has been set in that same exact setting for like the last decade, so I think anybody is going to be familiar with it, which is crazy, right? Like, you probably don't feel it. Much like people who live around where we come from, it's like nobody cares about Disneyland. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, whatever. The further you get away from it, like the more mystical, like Disneyland and
Do you talk to people where you're at and be like, I have been there.
I'm like,
I know this land.
fuck
It is
Disneyland,
real.
bro. That shit slowed down my morning commute so much. Fuck that place, bro.
It's like
that's-
Waterworld, you know? Land is
Yeah.
not a myth, bro. I've seen it.
like yeah, I mean, like San Dimas High School football rules and shit. Like we grew up in all that, so it's like it's nothing special. But the further you get away from it, the more I forget what the term is, but it's like a mystical aspect of it. And like being away from Cali for a bit now, like when I play GTA, it's like damn.
Is it bringing you back?
I mean, there's certain points of it where you're in the game and you're like, I could totally see how this one little block of this street is supposed to reflect like a 4-mile stretch in Hollywood Hills. You know what I mean? Like it's not a 1-to-1 comparison, like they made like a fake version. However, a lot of the key points in LA are in that game. So like, it's like, damn, I remember being there. It's like when I was watching the I actually said this to the chick when we were watching the the holiday special for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay.
Like I'm pretty sure Lucas was puking in the middle of the street, like right there and shit. At some point. Like I'm pretty sure we stumbled away from like that bar over there at some point.
Hey, what are you doing? I'm tying my shoe. Hold on.
Yeah, I mean the funniest one was it like Sunset or
Where I
Hollywood or
just puked
whatever.
in the middle of the
Where
crosswalk?
there were dozens of cars in the middle of that intersection, and you just stopped in the middle of the intersection to puke straight on the ground in front of everybody. Horrific, just like horrific. So like that's what I get when I watch shit like that. It's like I've been there, or oh my god, I've been near there. Like oh, that fool puked over there. I remember that. Like yeah.
See, I'm always a highlight of somebody's life. On that one.
Yeah, I mean, when you puke literally every square foot of like Hollywood, yeah.
Just leaving my mark, dog. Just leave my mark.
That might be why I get that game where it's like it might be fun to go like bop around and fucking.
I think that's a time killer. That's a time killer game where you just like throw it on, where you don't want to play anything else,
Yeah.
and you want to kill a few, I don't know, minutes, hours, whatever you got going on. Yeah,
like, of
it just
course.
gave me remember Zombieland? Gave me that
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah. Big house. Yeah.
It's just a van full of snowballs.
They were gonna remake that movie. Or they were gonna make a part 2.
Didn't they
I
come
get
out with
it,
part 2?
for one thing. No, they were going to come out with part 2, but they never did. I think they're still kicking around the idea.
Still looking for his Twinkies.
That's one of those things where it's like I think about it and I could go back and watch it, but I always opt not to. But like when it comes to sitting there and actually watching it,
Not worth it.
I'm more likely to watch all 7 or 8 Harry Potter films back to back again for the 9th time than to watch Zombieland again. Even though when Zombieland was out, I watched it like 50 times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another one I recently revisited was Scott Pilgrim, which is another masterpiece, by the way. It's such a good movie. If you can watch it with like a tongue in cheek, like okay, well, this is gonna be stupid. It's a fabulous movie, a bit edgy at times, but at the same time, like it's like Pineapple Express lost that vibe for me.
Well, when you watch it a million times, it's just kind of like
yeah.
meh.
Another one I rewatched was Superbad. That
What
was
about
one of
Grandma's
my
Boy?
that was one of my background videos was Superbad. So naturally, I'm still laughing at the same points and shit. I was like, all right, this is stupid. I was like, okay, it's super risque. It's a cancellation movie now for sure, but it's still pretty funny and shit.
Yeah, I just popped on Grandma's Boy the other night too.
Yeah, I've watched Grandma's Boy. That one's a lot cringier than I remember. The robot dude is definitely. And then you take into consideration that it's Happy Madison, and although Adam Sandler probably just like exec produced it, like he hasn't played a fucking video game since like Asteroids and shit. You know what I mean? So like, it's whatever. Like it didn't hold up as much. Although there are definitely aspects of that movie. Like I love all the old ladies. Like all the old ladies. Betty White's in it, right? So like, no, it's
Ray Romano's
Ray Romano's mom from
whoever that lady is.
I can hear my hair growing. Yeah. Like
Silver Fox.
yeah. So like, there are certain points of it where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, it's hilarious, but at the same time, it's like it's totally a movie of its time. Shit. Same thing with Waiting. Waiting is a bit rough to watch. There's a few of those. We should do that. Like for a Patreon. Is like a commentary track on like early 2000s movies, and
Those
just
look
sit
like
down and
comfortable
watch because we could remotely watch a movie at the same time. We could just sit there and watch like Superbad and just like make commentary track over it and shit.
Go to the
same
Patreon,
thing.
sign up for that.
Yeah,
We're doing
yeah,
it.
yeah. We'll do that next year in 2023. But yeah, I digress. I don't even know what the fuck we were talking about, but just spiraled
We
off
went
into,
from
like,
Dead
a
Island
super-
2 to all the way down to the
Yeah.
movies that we don't want to watch anymore, but we still do.
But basically, the point of that whole rambling and you talk and me talking about you puking in the middle of like Sunset Boulevard and shit was like,
It brings
it's
back
like
nostalgia for you.
I like wandering
That's
around
dinner.
areas that I'm familiar with, and with GTA 5 on its way out and GTA 6 being set in Miami, or Vice City, I should say. It's going to be kind of sad. I'm not going to have that outlet to go and dick around in like a California setting. So maybe this is it. We'll see. But it looked good. It looked all right.
It did look good. Just slash around and kill zombies and just try to make weapons of. Like, I'm gonna try to just make gnarly weapons, kill zombies, get prepped for that zombie time.
And then you have. I don't know if they did any mentioning of like multiplayer aspects of it. I think from that original trailer, it kind of hinted at the fact that you're living alongside other people that are also doing
It sounded
it.
like it, yeah.
In which case, yeah, 100%. That'd be super dope.
Yeah, more to come on that.
Yeah.
And then I think as in every week, we should probably have a rest in peace segment. This week we lost Kirstie Alley.
Kirstie Alley. Wasn't she like Scientology, like crazy and like all that shit?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think she went with, because she was like really in love with John Travolta.
Her thetans are now at rest.
Yeah, that was. I mean, she was the only movie I really remember her for was Luke Was Talking. That's pretty much it. I don't remember her for
Yeah,
anything.
I think that's the one that everybody draws to. I've seen her in fucking like a lot of stuff though.
It's the only movie
she
that
was
taught me
also
how babies
in
are made.
Frasier, I think it was. Yeah, the intro scene for that movie was fucked. What the fuck? Wasn't it Danny DeVito as
When I
a
was a
piece of
kid.
sperm? What the fuck is this? What is the
When I was a
80s?
kid, what's going on here? But then
Yeah,
when you're
yeah.
like getting to an adult, you're like, okay. So I was taught how
Yeah.
babies were made before my parents even told me about it.
Yeah, like, on a scientific level, it was Dan Aykroyd, or
Yeah,
no,
like-
who was it? It was Danny DeVito, right?
It was Danny DeVito, I think, and he's like
the
running
fuck?
around. He's like bumping in. That's
What
like,
is
look who wins the
this?
race. That's
is
how they win the race.
Yeah, that's fucked. Yeah,
I mean, my parents had to sign a waiver to let me like learn how the body was developing. Let alone I could just watch Luke Was Talking.
That's how they. Yeah, I remember that.
Damn 90s.
Yeah.
90s were ruthless.
I got on here too. You got The Last of Us Part 1. They announced that for PC, which is going to be kind of epic, especially with people with RTX rigs. Dune Awakening, I believe first person, might be third person as well, or, third person only. Open world survival, air quote, MMO. Could be something akin to like a Rust, where you're on a foreign land and you have means of harvesting and gathering, materials to build a base and expand and attack and stuff like that. Regardless, I think the Dune world is something that's it's due to be expanded upon, and Your boy loves some open world survival games. It's just how it is. Like I've thousands and thousands and thousands of hours dedicated to open world survival, not MMOs, because I think anything over 60 players can be considered an MMO. Might even be less. I'm not sure, but you know, most of your open world survival games, like Rust and stuff like that, they have 100-player servers. So technically, you can call them MMOs as well. But you know, we'd already talked about Death Stranding 2. Pretty sure I saw a baby die in that trailer, which was fucked. I need to go back and see like the.
It's an alien baby.
Well, I need to see like the whole BT thing and like how when people die, like they're whatever the fuck. It's Kojima, bro. Like I can't explain it. Like I gotta go and like watch a video and like pull out crayons and shit and like make a diagram and like, you know, take
Get the
notes and
whiteboard
shit.
out, dog. Get the whiteboard
Yeah,
out. Get the big
basically,
one.
it's like, what the fuck is going on here? There was other stuff, you know, there was mention of like the Baldur's Gate 3, which I thought was already out, but I guess it isn't. I don't know, whatever.
You're like, oh, my bad.
That's the game where it's like it had the most epic trailer I've ever seen in my life, where it's like, I don't care what this game is, I'm getting it. And then I saw it and I was like, bro, I'm not getting that game. It was embarrassing.
I retracted.
I'm sure people love that shit, but you know, whatever. They had the first clip from Mario Brothers, right? Did you see that?
Yeah, I was watching that.
I think that looked fucking good. Like that looks super good. Like that illumination is popping off with this animation. Chris Pratt's voice, whatever. Again, I don't think
it still bothers me.
it doesn't sound like Chris Pratt, but it
still
doesn't
bothers
sound
me,
like
though.
Mario. Like that's my thing. I said that in the show that we scrapped last week, but it's like I don't think it sounds like Chris Pratt, but it doesn't sound like Mario for sure. However, the animation is
really good.
is superior. It's fantastic. The one that I'm hyped for the most, and I don't know if you saw it, but Space Marine 2. Warhammer 40K, Space Marine 2, third person, hack and slash, Space Marine game. It's like the brother-in-law, he's like a lifelong like Warhammer fan, tabletop player, you know, mini painter, you know, he paints his own shit. Which, you know, I'd like to get into too. They're just incredibly expensive and very tedious, very small, but I thoroughly respect the world of miniatures painting, you know. So to see these characters like be brought into like a Gears of War type of game, it's like, hell yeah, bro, that's what I've been waiting for. Like I got on Darktide, the beta. That was like your typical 4-player V-Wave game, you know, and you're not any of the Space Marines, but you know, you're layman. When they think of Warhammer, they think of Space Marines, you know, the big, crazy steel suits that look intimidating and massive. And they got gigantic fucking guns with chainsaws on them, and they're cutting people, like cutting, you know, aliens in half and shit. That's what most people think of when they think of Space or Warhammer, you know. So yeah, that's the game that like threw it for me. I was like, hell yeah, dude, that's finally it, you know. And he was pretty stoked about it too. So I was like, all right. So I think we've hit a nice even level here where filthy casuals like myself would be impressed, and diehards are just like, oh yeah. So I think that one will work out. Lords of the Fallen also dropped a trailer. Yeah. Then you got Armor Core. That trailer dropped. Fires of Rubicon. What is that? 6, I think it was. Armor Core 6.
6, yeah.
People were blown away on that one. I wasn't really into those games, so it's not necessarily something that blew me away. But the one they ended off with was Final Fantasy 16. Personally, I don't care. It's Final Fantasy, so it doesn't make
16.
sense.
16.
Yeah, then you got 14, like, still winning shit, and it's like,
Is
all
James
right,
Cameron behind this?
I know, right? Well, he wishes. This is where he gets his inspiration and shit. I was pretty sad that if there was no shock announcement of a GTA 6 trailer. Like, I'm starting to hate Rockstar and just their...
Well, that's because that whatever, that one game we were talking about earlier, that's going to take over.
Yeah, you don't want Crime Boss and shit. You don't want
there
to
you go,
fucking
Crime
steal
Boss,
their
Rocket
limelight
City.
and shit. Yeah, fucking Vanilla Ice making his video game debut and shit. Cyberpunk 2077 dropped the Phantom Liberty trailer, which featured Idris Elba. What up?
Boy.
I mean, hey, you know, him alongside Keanu Reeves, I mean, hey, that's pretty sick, to be honest. Crash Bandicoot drops his Rumbleverse game. I don't understand what happened.
Do I need a Rumble pack for it?
Where? what, like, Smash Brothers has been around for decades. It has been the best game, platformer fighting game for decades. Why is it in the year of our Lord 2022 every fucking company decide to make their own Smash game and then make it ass, bro? Like, they make these mid-ass fighting games. It's like, yes, I see it. It's the same game that came out last week from Warner Brothers, bro. Like, it's the same game. It plays the same. Why do you guys keep releasing this shit? Like, I don't want a Nickelodeon fucking Smash Brothers. They have
Everybody needs a piece of the pie.
There's literally a Nickelodeon Super Smash Brothers game that exists. That exists. So I don't know. Just need to chill out. You're not. It's like, if you're trying to go after Nintendo's style, you're never going to succeed. Like, it's just, you don't understand how it works if that's the case. You know what I mean? Just stop trying.
Yeah.
I'd say the one that was like the biggest mindfuck for me was the Transformers Reactivate trailer. What was that? I have no idea what that was. It looked like Avatar, to be honest. If I was trying to like, I know we keep ragging on Avatar.
As we come back around.
I mean, from what I got from the trailer was literally they took the conscience of a human and they put it into a transformer, and you never see the transformer. You see your shadow and you see you rising up way above everybody.
So now you have feelings, or is that what it is?
I guess. Like, I think they stole your soul and they put it in a transformer, and that's the game.
Oh, is that how we move on now? We never die. That's the future. We never die. We get put into Transformers and we live on. And
you're hooked up via like a wireless network, so you're being just transferred to another fucking car and shit.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
I don't know where they're going with all this shit, because literally we just released like the Beast Wars trailer. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
I got so confused on that one.
Like, why is Optimus not the gorilla? Like, what is going on? I don't know, but you know, if it looks good when gameplay drops, like, I'm down. But really, it's like that one was just like, what? And by the time they moved on, it fucked me up for like 2 or 3 minutes after that, because I was still trying to like deduce in my brain what I just saw. I was like, what kind of game is that? What the fuck? What is that?
You gotta break it down.
Yeah. BioShock chief developer Ken Levine, the guy that was like, fuck gaming, I'm never coming back, has come back with his new game, Judas. He's, you know,
all y'all going home.
Yeah. Hades 2, which, I mean, Hades was a pretty decent game. Ironically, a game that would appeal to boomers, and my boomer brain just cannot keep up with like the movement going on. But Hades 2, that was a big release drop, for sure. There was other games. I think, you know, the showstopper for sure was the Among Us hide and seek mode deal.
Oh yeah,
you know, that's just how it is. You know,
everybody's ready for that one.
I mean, that might actually be Among Us that I would play. I've never played Among Us. I've watched a lot of it because every streamer at some point was playing it. But Dead Cells Return to Castlevania, which was like, I short-circuited when I saw that, because Dead Cells is like a very creative, almost Newground style art, you know, like Meat Boy style in terms of art style. But the game itself is executed beautifully. And then they went and did like a mashup with Castlevania. So yeah, there's a lot of creative shit that dropped too. It wasn't just, you know, your big drops like the Jedi and Final Fantasy 26 and shit like that, you know what I mean? So it was bigger shit, or smaller shit, I should say. And that's pretty much it. There was a couple other things, but I'm not going to get into it. Whatever.
Nothing that kind of stuck out, and except for that stupid ass kid, but everybody's talking about it though.
Animal, my boy Animal, for sure. I love Animal from Muppets. So when he came out and he was, you know, giving away like awards and shit like that, I was like, all right, that's pretty funny. Because in my brain, I was just imagining some dude crawling around on the ground, like underneath the camera, and just with his hands on the puppet's ass. And he's like, rah, 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 you know. And it's just all weird to like everybody in the room, because like it's breaking the fourth wall, and it just looks, it's like, it just, you know, you don't want to see that. It's just, it takes away the illusion, the immersion.
It's hard to watch, because then you gotta, am I watching the guy below, or am I watching the
guy's
puppet?
in like a black like leotard jumpsuit, like no face or anything, and it's all awkward and shit. You can see his bulge. That would just be like the weirdness of that scenario. But
oh man,
All right, so that is pretty much it, right? Let me scroll through here just quickly. Oh yeah, DC is in an absolute shit show right now.
Cancel everything.
I am
Cancel
admittedly,
everything.
admittedly, I despise the Snyder films because you knew me. You know, when I was 17, I had Superman tattooed on my body and shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I have that. You know, that's what I grew up. You know, I was huge into Smallville, massive into Smallville. So
Yeah, don't bother me right now until after Smallville. That's when we'll get back on that.
basically, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
then I started absorbing people into that, and then it became the thing where it was like we'd watch Smallville. You gonna watch Smallville? Yeah. We'd watch it. We'd bullshit on Xbox Live and immediately jump into Halo 3 games. Like, tell me that's not like the best fucking time of ever. Like, that's amazing. One thing, did you watch Wednesday yet?
I'm slowly watching it. It's not like I'm gonna binge through this thing or like get through it real fast, or I gotta watch this episode. After one of my buddies is like, "Are you watching this?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's pretty good." He's like, "Yeah, my little girls are watching it." And he's
Oh,
like,
shut up, bro. Like,
God
literally,
damn.
there's a guy that has his head, like, the guy's neck is broken. There's so much gore and shit in that series. But it's not for little girls, actually. But it's written by Alfred Gough and Miles Miller, the same people that created Smallville. So I was like, why do I like this show so fucking much? I don't say so much, but I liked it enough to watch it, which is enough for me, you know what I mean? So like, you know, I'm super into Superman. I was big into like Kingdom Come. That's what my tattoo is. You know, there's just a lot of things growing up in the 90s where, you know, you have a different pre-DCEU, pre-MCU representation of these characters and properties that you appreciate on a different level. And to see them bastardized and then spewed out to the masses and gobbled up is like just annoying. And it's like, okay, you know, you ran your course. Like you got what you wanted. Now, you know, let's get back to making an actual Superman movie. Like, that's enough. For them to go on for like, I don't know, a decade of this shit, it's like, I'm so fucking happy that it's over. The Hollywood Reporter reported DC is looking at ending Aquaman franchise and recasting him as Lobo, which, to be honest, like, he would have absolutely done better as Lobo to begin with. Zack Snyder is just, I guess he had a good idea, and, you know, if I'm not going to talk too much shit on Jason Momoa's acting, he's got some range, but he has some stupid ass lines in those movies. He's some stupid ass lines in that movie.
Not my favorite.
You know, he's got a little bit of range. He's got more range than some of the actors that are chosen for these parts, like Gal Gadot, for example.
The Rock.
The Rock, he plays two different versions of The Rock.
The Dirty Rock and the Clean Rock.
Yeah. And then on the same day, in that same report, you got Aquaman cameo in The Flash, but it's unclear if it's going to actually show. You also have word of Wonder Woman 3 being scrapped and no longer going forward. In that same article, you have Man of Steel 2 is in active development, but it's unclear if it's happening now. Henry Cavill was filmed for a cameo in The Flash. Unsure as to whether that's going to be going through. That movie is actually going to be releasing, I think, a week earlier than previously expected in 2023. Black Adam sequel is unlikely now due
Speaking
to
of
the
The
fact
Rock.
that it made dick in terms of money. Oh my God, bro.
That should have been straight to stream.
He says, damn, don't say that to him. He says that
He's gonna bust in my door right now.
he's going to make, between 50 and $100 million in profit. Then you have conflicting stories saying that it's going to lose money and blah, 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 you know. So there might not be a sequel on that. You still got Shazam 2 that's going to come out, which is where he really should end up if he's going to be anywhere. Like, what the fuck? Read a comic book if you don't agree. What the hell's wrong with you? And then the best, the icing on the cake. Okay, so like you have all that shit, right? Where they're calling James Gunn a pedo because he made some risque jokes back in his Trauma day. Which Trauma, look it up. It's fucking Trauma. It was there for shock. You know, it was a shock humor production company. So
Right.
it is what it is. You either understand and you move on, or you don't and you bitch. And that's kind of seems how people went with it, right? So like, he made some edgy jokes. And, you know, naturally people just don't let it go. So they've dubbed him this. And then he gets pulled into DC and everybody's being like, you know, if you really listen to fans, they want, you know, Justice League 2, and they want, you know, Gal Gadot, and they want Henry Cavill, they want Batfleck, and they want Aquaman. It's like, oh my god, bro, like, just shut up. Just shut up, please stop. By this point, just stop. But it turns out that prior to James Gunn and Peter Safran's hiring as the new heads of DC Studios, there was actually interest in Warner Brothers for creating a Justice League 2. So in my brain fiction, right, my fanfic in my head is that they're like, hey, when you come in, we need you to handle this Justice League 2. We're going to move ahead with it, but we want to kind of shift it, you know? And then he's like, okay. And he's like checking out Twitter, as James Gunn does. And then he's getting tagged in all this shit, call him a pedo and this and that. And it's hashtag
like, fuck,
bring back Snyderverse and hashtag restore the Snyderverse and hashtag Justice League 2, you know, and he's sipping he doesn't drink anymore, but you know, he's sipping his lemonade and shit. And he's
drinking coffee,
reading all this
coffee,
shit.
reading
And
all-
he's like, you know what? Fuck Justice League 2. Like, fuck that.
Probably not.
I'm about to gut all of DC, you know, like that's where I'm going to go with this. And
Hang
that
them
kind of
upside
it kind of seems like where that went was that, like, you know, he went in there and axed everything that the Snyderverse would have loved, and all kind of with a smile on his face, you know. I think I showed you, did I show you the screen grabs of like his back and forth on Twitter?
Yeah.
When will people learn, right? It's like James Gunn uses Twitter, and he doesn't use it like fucking R.L. Stein, where he has like his personal assistant post links and shit.
It's actually him.
It is James Gunn who is looking while he's taking a shit, or he's sitting on set, or he's in his car, or he's eating lunch or whatever, and he's flipping through in his mentions. It's fucking hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of idiots who are like calling him stupid shit and demanding this and telling him to do that. And then once in a while he sees something that he's like, okay, I can write it in a way where they can't get me on it. You know what I mean? So he does. Yeah. And then he has a witty comeback, and then it's just him shitting on people. And it's just, it's the best shit. I love James Gunn. I love his interactions on Twitter, but yeah, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So I honestly think that they kind of got to this point through their own actions. You know what I mean? But I don't want to rail on too much about that. I just think it was a glorious week for people who have been looking for some change. And in regards to those stories that came out in the Hollywood Reporter, James Gunn tweeted, so as for the story yesterday in the Hollywood Reporter, some of it is true, some of it is half true, some of it is not true, and some of it we haven't even decided yet whether it's true or not. Although the first month as DC has been fruitful, building the next 10 years of story takes time, and we're just beginning. Peter and I chose to helm DC Studios knowing we were coming into fractious environment, both in the stories being told and the audience itself, and there would be an unavoidable transitional period as we moved into telling a cohesive story across film, TV, animation, and gaming. But in the end, the drawbacks of that transitional period were dwarfed by the creative possibilities and the opportunity to build upon what has worked in DC so far and to help rectify what has not. We know we are not going to make every single person happy every step of the way, but we can promise everything we do is done in the service of the story and in the service of the DC characters, and these are all caps, we know you cherish, and we have cherished our whole lives as well. As for more answers about the future of the DCU, I will sadly have to ask you to wait. We are giving these characters and the stories the time and attention they deserve, and we ourselves still have a lot more questions to ask and answer. Like, he's just such a G. Like, he's such a G,
like,
bro.
I'm the captain now, and we're gonna do all
Basically.
of this and put a lot of heart into it, and not just make shit.
It's like when we went to the US Open, and we stumbled off that course drunk as fuck, and we headed over to the Edwards in Mira Mesa, San Diego, to go watch. Actually, we went to Wings and Things to eat way too much fucking buffalo wings for you to puke in the parking lot. You know, when we went there, that was the first MCU film, right? So just a year or two prior to that, I was frothing at the mouth begging DC to give me a conjoined universe. You know, like Smallville had released an episode called Justice Society, where they brought in Hawkman, they brought in Dr. Fate, who looked super dope. They brought in the Justice Society, and it was like, oh, they need to do this in movie form. You know, they need to bring these characters together. You had, you had Green Arrow, you had Aquaman, you had Flash. I think they called him Speedy. I think no, it wasn't Speedy because that's his actual side character. I forget what they used a code name for Flash in the show. You had Superman. You know, they were hinting at the fact that DC might be willing to have a shared universe between these characters. But that's as far as they got. And they kind of just kept pulling it back. Every time that you got close, they made it, but they did it like a decade later because Marvel was making all this money and this and that, you know, it wasn't genuine. So that was my gripe the whole time, was like, I've always wanted DC to do what Marvel has done. And like, I've become a Marvel fan because of it. Like, I grew up a DC fan. I was like, I become a Marvel fan where it's more than just X-Men to me. Because like when I was a kid, it was all about X-Men, you know?
It was everywhere.
It was everywhere. I had the trading cards. I had the fucking clothes, the underoos and shit, you know? Like I had all that, you know? Like I love I love the cartoons. I love the video games. Like I love all that shit. I read the comics, you know, I spent most of my time at the comic book shop specifically for X-Men property. So it's like, to be converted into a Marvel fan was not the intention. You know what I mean? Like, I am not here to like shill for MCU, but I am here to like demand better from DC. And it's like fucking raging Woody for me, bro. Like hearing James Gunn talk about these characters this way and shit. It's like, just, I'm so fucking like just ready. Like my body is ready for this shit. Like I want to see like a Spielberg level Superman movie. You know what I mean? Like I want to see a fucking, like, I know it wouldn't happen, but like a really fucked up like Quentin Tarantino like Riddler movie. You know what I mean? Like, or Joker movie, you know, like I want to see like quality. And
God, how fucked up would that movie be though if Tarantino was
hell yeah, that would be so fucked up. Like,
you'd be confused and excited.
Yeah, and like just choose one of the characters that would be super ruthless and just let him go. But we talked about that in the past. Like, he's not interested in that shit. He said those are for people that need work. It's like, damn, oh my god. Yeah. But you know, it is what it is. I'm just saying that, you know, DC has the best characters. Now I'm starting to think that they have, you know, Marvel might have the most versatile set of characters. However, the main lineup of DC, it's like, cannot be beat, you know.
Well, because I feel like with Batman. DC, you could go either way. You can go good or bad.
Yeah, what's the one that they're talking about online? It was like Condiment Man. I think it was Condiment Man. Anything else you want to cover?
No, I think I'm good on the news for the week.
Yeah. To hell with the Snyderverse. Rest in piss, bitches. It is what it is. You had your time. It's over. Whatever.
Guns tweet. Look at me.
Yeah.
I'm the cop.
Yeah. Just glancing through here too. But yeah, all rambling aside, you know, go see Avatar: The Way of the Water. Let me out this James Cameron special.
Or you could wait for The Witcher.
Yeah. I don't understand. Whatever. I don't want to get into it. I just got back from Avatar Land. All right. I went to Avatar Land.
Thinking of Witcher Land.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, they had the Witcher shit. Yeah.
Blood Origin.
Whatever. What the fuck was that? What was that?
Trash.
Oh my god, it was such trash. If I saw that too, I'd quit. If I was Henry Cavill, they showed me that
Netflix was
shit.
like, "Yeah, how do we fuck this up?
Like,
I got you, fam.
Why is he traveling back in time? Like all of a sudden, why the fuck? Yeah, there was that too. Oh my god, I don't want to talk about that because
that's not even worth talking about.
The first two seasons were good, or I think it was two seasons, but like the first, what's there on Netflix is good. I enjoyed it. I think Henry Cavill did super good in it. Mm-hmm. He looked the part, you know. He's all ripped and shit, all studly. What's her face kind of looks like the character. They hit some decent points, but Henry Cavill is a fucking nerd, right? And if you're gonna take somebody with his, like, you know, presence, who is also a nerd, and then kind of use him in your own nerdy properties, like, you better be expected to live up to his requirements, right? Because like, he's going to be kind of like, you know, he's going to be gatekeeping a little bit. And that's explicitly what happened in this situation, is that he's a huge Witcher fan, and that's right up his alley, to be honest, and was like 100% in from the get-go, you know what I mean? And for him to be like, yeah, you guys are dicking around too much, I'm out. Given, I mean, it was kind of predetermined that he wasn't going to be there for the entire time, but you know, he's gone. But yeah, no one get too much into it. Just check out the Twitter if you want to check out some stuff that we didn't mention.
Huge news. Huge
I
news.
mean,
James Cameron bitches about that Nickelodeon using the word Avatar.
It turns out that there was a huge fight going on in the background, which doesn't even make any fucking sense. Like, if you look at James Cameron's, like, why is he calling it Avatar? Like, I get it. Like, the Avatar, right? The concept of the body that the conscious is being put in. But yeah, you know, we have other shows we're going to be retweeting throughout the week, as always. You can find us on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, at Nerd Chatter Show. I made a... Oh, we didn't talk about Kick. Oh, my God. Trainwrecks TV announced a super sketchy secondary Twitch streaming platform that I made an account for us. We're on it, Nerd Chatter. We'll see. I'll see what's up. Turns out that shit is like funded by the same people that make stake.com, the gambling website that will like is causing all this drama and shit. Whatever. It is what it is. But we're on there as well. Nerd Chatter there.
Go check it out.
Yeah, you can check it out. You can find the Nerd Chatter podcast anywhere you can find podcasts, including Spotify, Audible, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere else. You can join our community over on the Discord. We got the bots feeding the free games and the retweets and tweets and stuff that we have on Twitter. Or you can help us out on the Patreon account that we have over there. Link is in the description below, but we got some Patreon specific content for you to enjoy. And we discussed, you know, maybe there's some commentary tracks and stuff that we could do in the future. I'd be down. It's just got to be a particular day and time for me, you know what I mean? So
Yeah, that sounds like fun, though.
we'll see what's up. Lucas, appreciate you being here, my friend.
Thanks for having me, dude.
And you'll be here next week, right? You do next week?
Yeah, I should be on here.
Yeah, we'll see what's up. Hopefully my nose is cleared up and I don't sound all stupid and shit, but, you know, it is what it is. So we will see you guys next week. All right,
Laters.